guarding man-to-man, but there were times I had to get him man-to-man. And
favorite team that you guys love to face in your division?
Yours.
Yes, sir.
Like the games like we play against the Raiders, you might get 3 sacks. When they had Jamarcus Russell, which I did. So I got 3 sacks on them in the first half, right?
Yeah.
And I'm ready, and they take Tommy Maddox.
Well, good morning. Happy Sunday, guys. Welcome to the West War Room Rivals Sunday pregame show. I am your host, Cody, representing Raider Nation. Shovic's over there with the Broncos and Chiefs, and Matt. You guys, our very first morning pregame show. How we feeling?
Good, man. I'm excited.
I'm stoked about this. Yeah, it's been a nice little in the making. So now that we actually get to put it in action, let's roll.
Stoked.
Matt, where are you via satelliting us from?
We are actually in the JBW suite here in Denver, Colorado. We will be at the Broncos game. So Broncos country, we are looking forward to seeing you there.
And then remind the folks, you guys are doing a giveaway. So go ahead and remind the folks about the giveaway.
Yeah, we have 4 $25 gift cards to Fanatics that we're going to be giving away. We're also going to give you guys an opportunity to win a Terrell Davis Funko Pop. That's going to be in the mix as well. So, again, looking forward to seeing you guys and hanging out with you, tailgating, and walking out of Denver with a win.
You said that when you guys got there, you guys noticed a lot of Bronco fans. Is it kind of a split, you think, or is it still blue and orange over there?
Oh, it's still blue and orange over here, but I mean, Cowboys, they roll deep. There was quite a few on the flight in here, and we've seen a lot in the hotel. So I mean, they're here, they're ready. As long as I don't hear "We Dem Boys," I think I can manage.
Over under if you hear that more than 50 times today.
Oh God, probably over.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. And also, guys, just a quick reminder and a quick thank you to JBW Solutions. We are recording out of the JBW Solutions studio right now. We actually have a guest picker on this morning with being Jeff Williams, owner of JBW Solutions. He will be joining us to do guest pickings for the AFC West matchup. So stay tuned for that towards the end of the show. But we've got a full rundown for you guys. So I think it's about time that we get started. What do you guys think?
Let's do it.
All right, guys. So we are heading into week 8, and week 8 is not just another week. This week, it's going to matter a lot more. It could be the turning point for a lot of teams. These games are not just, fish in a barrel where they're easy pick-ins. These ones, there's primetime matchups. There's revenge games on the line, momentum swings depending on the matchups as well. There could be pretenders of yesterday to contenders of tomorrow. So what we're going to do is throughout this morning, we're going to be diving into it and talking more about what games that you guys should be looking out for and giving predictions as well. But before that, we're going to dive into the AFC West, and we're going to talk about the 4 AFC West teams being the Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, and the Raiders. Starting off with the Kansas City Chiefs. They're defending AFC West champions. They will be playing a home game, another primetime game against the Washington Commanders. Washington's a little bit beat up with no Jaden Daniels, so this is going to be a very interesting matchup to see if Patrick Mahomes and the guys can take care of business or if they're going to fall asleep at the wheel and allow Marcus Mariota to have their day with them. So we'll see on Monday night. And then the Broncos, as Matt just said, as he's reporting from Denver, Colorado right now, the Cowboys are in Denver as of this moment. And there's a big matchup as both teams, Denver coming off of a 19-point deficit in the fourth quarter against the New York Giants. So let's see if Denver can keep up that momentum or if the Dallas Cowboys are going to supersede that. Los Angeles Chargers, of course, had a Thursday night football game where they absolutely decimated the Minnesota Vikings. But I think I can speak for the group when we say we have more questions. Is that offensive line going to be able to carry on the competition, or the Chargers going to keep charging as they do almost every year where they don't seem to make the playoffs or make any noise when it matters? So we'll see what that is. And my Las Vegas Raiders were coming off of a 31-0 bell-to-ass game from the Kansas City Chiefs. So we're taking a bye week to lick our wounds and to reevaluate everything. And as Dick Vermeil says, we're laying the fertilizer for the future as we figure things out. However, we're going to go around the league now. We're going to look at some matchups like the Green Bay Packers heading to the Pittsburgh Steelers, where Aaron Rodgers will square off against his former team. And we're going to see, does Aaron Rodgers still have it at the ripe old age of 42, or will Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, and the young Green Bay Packers run Pittsburgh out of the stadium? And then we got the New England Patriots and Drake May. Will they continue their hot run, or is Cleveland going to surprise some more people as they face off this Sunday? And not only that, but fewer rundowns of games and matchups. The spread could be one big play or no big plays. So it's going to come down to this: consistency versus inconsistencies. Can a team that started slow pick up hot again? Could a team who was hot, could they maintain that, or are they going to fizzle out towards the end? So we dive into that now on the AFC West War Room pregame show this Sunday. So we're going to kick it off with the AFC West Rundown. So Corey, kick us off with the first AFC West Rundown.
Yes, sir. So we're going to start, as you had mentioned just a couple minutes ago, the Chargers absolutely handled their business. And we talked about this on the show the other night, that it was kind of a must-win for the Chargers in order to keep pace with the Chiefs and the Broncos. So we look at the box score real quick: 37-20 easily by the Chargers. Justin Herbert, 18-25, 227, 3 touchdowns and an interception. And then on the ground, Kamani Vidal, 23 carries, 117, and Herbert even kind of had his way, 7 for 62. And then I look on the defensive side real quick. Justin Abogi had 2 sacks. They just acquired Odofe Owe, who had a sack. So their defense looked really well. And that was even with Derwin James going down with an injury, and nothing to update on the injury front as of today. I'm sure as we get into next week, that's something the Chargers are going to look forward to on that end. So, Matt, I want to give it to you real quick. As far as the Chargers go, and that being a must-win, are they back?
The reason why, I mean, yeah, they kind of had their way with the Vikings defense, but you look at Carson Wentz, he's playing hurt, and you saw it anytime he took a hit, he's grabbing that arm. So it's like, what if Wentz was healthier? You know, what if they had all the right pieces there? Would that game have gone differently? But I will say the Chargers did look good on all fronts. Gadsden, who was the main target, I want to say that the first half, he's the one that kind of like started it all. I want to say he had 6 catches for 77 yards. And then Ladd McConkey, he just started finding his rhythm and started getting involved. So, I mean, it was a bounce back game like we talked about last week. It was a bounce back game for the Chargers. And I think they did bounce back, and this will probably give them momentum going forward. But I don't want to say that the Vikings were the team to say that they're the ones that brought the Chargers back. Like, I don't want to say they're back yet. I want to see how they do later on to say, like, yes, there we go. Yep, the Chargers are back. The Chargers aren't chargering anymore because they still have a lot of competition left. Justin Herbert, I like that. You know, he threw the pick, and it was a fire and forget kind of thing. He threw the pick, and it was like it didn't happen. Next drive, he throws a touchdown. So, and Vidal, I mean, now you're looking at it. They just signed Najee Harris, who's out for the season. So now going into next year, like, are they going to utilize Harris? Or are they going to want to play Vidal again, who's having a really good season? He's really filling that void for both Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris being out. He's had, 2 or 3 100-yard games already. That's a huge jump from last year when he wasn't utilized at all. So now it's kind of like, what are the Chargers going to do at running back when they get Najee Harris back next season? So there's a lot of questions still unanswered. I do think they look good. I think they definitely made easy work of the Vikings. But again, it's still the Vikings with the injured Carson Wentz. J.J. McCarthy is still out. I don't want to say that they're back just yet.
Yeah, so I think what I'm going to just say about this is I don't know, and again, to Matt's credit, I think the next 3 weeks is going to probably be where the confidence boost goes for the Chargers. They've got the Titans, they have the Steelers, and have the Jaguars. And I think we've already talked about this where we don't think the Steelers or the Jaguars are contenders at this point. Like, we feel like that they're a good team, but maybe they're not quite there. And I think as each week goes, the Chargers get a little bit more healthy. They get Joe Alt back. Maybe they get Omarion Hampton back. They have a lot of weapons right now to where they're not even really using Quentin Johnston anymore. They use more Trey Harris on Thursday night. And then as well as still getting Ladd McConkey and Keenan Allen involved. So, to Matt's credit, I agree. I don't know if they're quite back yet, but I do think that this is a confidence builder because you get a win over a respectable Vikings team. I think a team that we could agree if they're healthy, they're probably a wild card team in the NFC. Thursday nights never favor an away team because they got to go on the road and they're a little bit more beat up. However, Justin Herbert still turning over the ball a little bit, still running for his life a majority of that game, I think is a little worrisome to me. So if they get Joe Alt back at a pivotal time, maybe that's against the Steelers or the Jaguars, I think we can then see them put a little bit more together in terms of, consistent winning. Because once they go from the Steelers, the Jaguars, and they play the Raiders, then it goes Eagles, Chiefs, Cowboys, Texans, back to the Broncos. So that's just a little bit tougher of a 7-game stretch that they got to go. And that in that 7 games, that's going to be whether or not they can make a wild card, or depending on where they're at within the division, are they able to capture the divisional crown? Because right now they're 3-0 over the division. So if they can maintain that lead, then maybe some good things can come out of that. But Austin, do you have any thoughts of the Thursday night game?
No, I mean, Chargers did what they had to do, take care of business. That's first and foremost. But I think it was Matt. There's still questions. I'm not ready to say they're back. You said it. Herbert's still running for his life, still turning it over a little bit. They will continue, you hope, to get healthier week by week. But they did what they had to do this week. They took care of business. But I still have to see more moving forward, more consistency, because that's really the big thing with the Chargers, right? Mm-hmm. Chargers are going to charger is because of the lack of consistency. So we need to see this week over week. So Thursday, it was a good start, but I'm not ready to crown them as being back. It's just it was a good week. See what you got next week, but yeah, that's about all I have.
Yeah, I will say Joe Alt was back Thursday, and I don't know if he was on a pitch count, but you can tell he made a difference when he was in there. So just based on now getting, Becton was starting, but then he kind of got hurt again. So I don't know I wasn't able to see if he came back or not for that. So if they can get Becton back as well to kind of shore up the guard spot, I think that left side will be fine with Joe Alt. And then, with Herbert, he was still taking unnecessary hits, but he was only sacked 2 times. So I guess right side is only sacked twice, but I don't remember what the key number of hits were. But yeah.
All right, let's move on to the Broncos heading to Denver, playing the Cowboys, of course, where Matt is currently at, along with Jeff, which we'll bring on later on in the show. What are the keys to victories for the Broncos to continue their winning momentum against the Cowboys? So, Corey, what are your keys to victory for the Broncos?
Yeah, they got to establish the run game, chew up the clock a little bit, keep Dallas and that offense off the field as much as possible. And I think it's going to come down to the defense is going to have to get a couple of those takeaways, steal a couple of possessions. I'm higher on Riley Moss now than I was at the beginning of the season. So he's got to keep playing how he's been playing against these big name receivers, because Denver's played against other good skill positions this season so far, and they've held up okay. So it's just another one of those. So run game, establish the clock, shoot, win the time of possession, and steal a couple of possessions from the offense.
Matt, what are your keys to victory?
So for me, I'm looking at the defensive line. I'm looking at that front 7, because here's the thing about the Dallas O-line. They're doing very well this year. They've only allowed 8 sacks on the season. So, you saw Nick Bonito last week. He didn't really do much against who's the Giants guard that everyone's high on? I'm drawing a blank here, but
Thomas.
Thomas. He had 0 pressures and 0 sacks against Andrew Thomas. So now you have a whole offensive line that's only allowed 8 sacks. So I'm going to be watching that. I want to see Zach Allen, Nick Bonito, Jonathan Cooper, Jonathan Franklin Myers. I want to see DJ Jones. I want to see them get in there and blow up these run plays. Javonte Williams right now is the number 2 back in the league, and which is a huge surprise, because last year he wasn't doing anything. He gets to Dallas, and it's like rookie Javonte all over again. Mm-hmm. So I need to see them be disruptive in the backfield. And then again, same thing as Corey, I'm more high on Riley Moss than I was at the beginning of the season, but I am super nervous about his matchup with Pickens, because Pickens is having a breakout year. 36 receptions, 600 yards, 6 touchdowns. And you got to imagine he's going to get some work against CeeDee Lamb as well. I mean, I'm sure they're going to rotate that matchup. I'm a little worried about that. But, yeah, the offense, I mean, gotta establish the run. Stop the damn screen plays on every second down. Let's give Dallas a look that they haven't seen before. So Sean Payton's going to be an X factor in here. What plays are you going to draw up against the Dallas defense?
Austin, what's your keys to victory, or do you think the Broncos are going to falter to the Cowboys?
No, I think it could go either way. This isn't one where I think, one team really is going to run away with it. No surprise. I think the game is going to be won or lost in the trenches. So I'm just looking at offense and defensive lines for basically what Corey and Matt have said. For Denver offensive line, it's to establish the run and keep Bo Nix upright. Give him some time. I know he's pretty good at throwing on the run, but this year that seems to be when his throws aren't exactly accurate. So if they can keep him stationary, keep him up, give him time, and establish the run, I think that's good for Broncos. And then the defensive line, not only pressuring Dak Prescott, but also muddying up the run game. Dak's having an MVP season, but I still think it all starts with the run game, with how well Javonte's doing. You kind of have to decide which one you want to stop. I think Denver's going to lean more towards trying to focus on the big name receivers. So I think it's up to the D-line and the linebackers to muddy up the trenches to stop that run game and make them get to second and third and longs and those predictable downs, right, where the pass rushers can unleash. So no surprise for me. I think the game all starts in the trenches for Denver.
Yeah, I think a couple of keys to victory, I would say it's good. For me, it would start on the defensive side, and I really wish Dre Greenlaw was in this game because I really feel like with his presence at the linebacking core, I feel like the defense would be able to dial in a little bit more blitzing to where maybe you get Benito, Allen, maybe Cooper to get pressure to make Dak uncomfortable, so that way it disrupts the timing, because I feel like when Dak sits back there and he has a lot of time and he's able to find George Pickens, he's able to find CeeDee Lamb, he's able to find Turpin, or Jake Ferguson. I feel like that's when the Cowboys are at their best, is when Dak has enough time to sit back there and survey the field, coverages break down. So if Denver can get home, I feel like they have a really strong advantage of being able to disrupt the rhythm of this offense. But I also did mention that in our preview show that we did on Wednesday, that I feel like this is a Sean Payton play calling matchup against Matt Eberflus, in the sense of Sean Payton calling these bubble screens, these receiver screens, really not getting Bo Nix comfortable and in rhythm to where in the fourth quarter, Bo Nix has to put the team on his back and really come from behind. And I don't think, like I had mentioned on the show, I don't think Dallas will allow a comeback like the Giants did. I feel like, Brian Schottenheimer coaches and holds them a little bit more diligently in that sense, to where he's not going to let that squander. Now, that doesn't mean to say that maybe Sean Payton all of a sudden is going to discover the run game and option plays and all this stuff. But I feel like Denver here, this is a really good momentum to really progress against a good team. I don't think we all thought that the Dallas Cowboys would be this good this far along, but I feel like this win would be just as important as if they had that come from behind win against the Giants, just because it's a huge confidence builder. Like one of the number one offense going against your defense, who you've invested a lot of players and money towards. And now let's see how they go up against a high powered offense. So my keys to victory would be Sean Payton's play calling and then the pass rush of Denver. I think those two things are going to be what get the Broncos a win out of this game.
And I do want to add in there, Trayvon Diggs is out today. He's on IR. That means you have a backup, or probably like a less experienced corner, on Cortland Sutton. This is the perfect time. If Denver's offense wants to unload and bulldoze on a defense, this is the one to do it. So I got to see Sean draw something up that nobody's seen before.
Yeah, we'll definitely find out this morning when they play. And Matt will be doing his giveaway as mentioned, and he'll be sending us all the behind-the-scenes stuff from game action for today. So let's move on to the Chiefs. Austin, the defending AFC West champion Chiefs, tell us what the Chiefs' key to victories need to be, or who's the X factor for their game against the Commanders.
Yeah, not going to be surprised. It's going to sound like the exact same thing I was saying for Denver. I think it starts in the trenches. Again, Chiefs are going to be down to 2 backup offensive linemen this week, with Josh Simmons still away from the team for personal reasons. And then Trey Smith is listed as doubtful. So we'll have Caliendo there now. Caliendo and Jalen Moore. Jalen Moore's looked good. But healthy, the Commanders have a good pass rush, good front line. So need them to hold up to have this offense keep rolling. But defensively, it's the same thing. I feel like the way the Commanders are going to be able to move the ball is Mariota with his legs.
Mm-hmm.
So they not only need to have a good pass rush, but they need to have a smart, disciplined pass rush. Stay in your lanes. Don't open up running lanes for him. Keep him contained and make him a pocket quarterback. Again, not saying he can't be, but he's most comfortable when he can run, when he can get out of the pocket, extend plays. That's still who he is. So the defensive line, not necessarily just pass rush, but smart and disciplined and fundamental with their pass rush. So I think if they can do that, if the backups on the offensive line can keep Patrick protected and do enough in the run game, I don't want to say it'll be an easy game, but the Chiefs should be able to be there at the end if they're able to do that.
Corey, who's your X factor for this game?
Yeah, I still look at the defensive side of the football just because Marcus Mariota he's a backup quarterback, yes, but he has experience. He has experience at Arrowhead. They're getting Terry McLaurin back. I haven't seen on Debo quite yet, but I think with Terry coming back, that could open it up a little bit more. So you're still going to need your defensive line. Chris Jones is still going to need to disrupt everything, make Marcus Mariota uncomfortable because, again, he is still the backup quarterback. So you want to make sure, and Spags is going to have everything drawn up. Spags is going to have the game plan and have the guys ready. Look at the secondary. You still want to see those young guys step up when they need to. Don't be the reason that the Commanders, I almost call them Redskins.
I did too.
The Commanders are still in the game because I think the closer the game is, then the Commanders just come out and play more free, right? Mm-hmm. So you still need to have your defense kind of set the tone early and disrupt the plays. Don't let the run game get going. I think the Chiefs have been doing a little bit better against the run here recently. Their linebackers are flying around, Leo Chenal, Bolton, all those guys. So, I look for the defense to kind of be a key reason why they win this game.
Matt, who's your X factors for the Chiefs Commanders?
Mine's going to be the Chiefs defense. And the reason I'm saying that is because even without Jaden Daniels, the Commanders are still putting up at least 25, 26 points a game. That's the average right now. The Chiefs defense is allowing an average of 17 points a game. So if the Chiefs defense doesn't kind of keep those scores to a minimum and they allow Commanders to capitalize in the red zone, let Marcus Mariota march down the field and just kind of like have his way, it's going to be a long day because, again, looking at numbers, looking at the Chiefs offense, they're averaging about the same. So there's really nothing definitive there that says that the Chiefs are going to get a large leap in the game. Now, I still think they're going to win this game, but I mean, again, you can't underestimate. It's any given Sunday. You can't underestimate anyone. It's prime time. And if the Commanders defense has a spark in them, they're pretty pissed off from last week's debacle against Dallas. This is going to be it. And what a team to do it on than the reigning AFC West champs, the Chiefs. So for me, it's going to be the Chiefs defense. Can they contain Mariota? Can they contain Debo and Terry? Or are they just going to let them march in the field and put points on the board?
This is definitely going to come down for me if the Commanders they're going to get Scary Terry back. If maybe Debo Samuel is able to go, that's another layer to this offense that would help Zach Ertz, of course. The fact that the Chiefs don't have two of their better offensive linemen to start in this game, I think is a little bit more intriguing in the sense of like Dan Quinn likes to dial up the blitz a little bit. However, I think Patrick Mahomes' season so far has been almost MVP level to where he's not taking the sacks anymore. He's actually able to find his checkdowns. It doesn't seem like that he's throwing it into double coverage like maybe last year. He was a little bit more free with how he was seeing the field a little bit. But I think what it comes down to, ironically enough, to go to Austin's point in the trenches, the run game for the Chiefs. If they can establish the run game, whether that's with Smith or with Isaiah Pacheco, that way it opens up a little bit more of the play action and the passing game. I think that'll help. But if the Commanders take away that run game of the Chiefs, I feel like then that leaves the Chiefs vulnerable, because once the Commanders can put you one-dimensional, they can at least muddy the things up that make it hard to just have an easy win. And I think now that the Commanders have a little bit of some offensive weapons for Mariota, who again is a backup quarterback, we're not asking them to win the game, but just don't lose the game. I feel like, it could be just enough to where it keeps it interesting. Do I ultimately think the Commanders really come out of this? Not so much, but I think the Commanders could be a surprise team that might put on more of a difficult task for the Chiefs than we're anticipating. Maybe a lot of that is for no Jaden Daniels, but I think credit to, Dan Quinn and that defense. I think they're going to still keep them fighting. But I ultimately think some X factors here for the Chiefs are that run game. If it's established, I think the Chiefs are going to coast through the game. So that would be what my X factor would be.
I think it's going to come to explosive plays too, and I think the Chiefs are going to be able to get that. I think they opened it up a little more with Rashee Rice last week. They kind of were quick hitters to him, but now I think now's the time where you really unleash it. You just kind of, just tell Patrick go, just go, and then you have Thornton out there on some. You'll have Worthy. So I think if it comes down to the explosive plays, I don't think the Commanders can match that with what the Chiefs would be able to do as far as, the deep play threats and what.
Yeah, I agree. All right, guys. Last team would be my Las Vegas Raiders. Of course, they're on a bye week. They come back in week 9 to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I think a couple of things about this bye week I'm hoping that we address would be somewhat of the organization of the offense in terms of play call, getting the run game established. Also, too, getting Geno Smith. And again, I know that Geno Smith earlier in the season was throwing the ball a little bit more down the field, and obviously leads the league in interceptions at 10. But what I'm looking for is this offense to give him confidence again to actually challenge that defense. Because what I've been seeing the last 2 weeks with him doing checkdowns, throwing it no more than a few yards and hoping the receiver is able to turn it up and do some more with it, it does not make our offense that much more deadly. In fact, it is kind of like regressing it. Chip Kelly's offense is already kind of elementary to begin with. And in the NFL, if you have a weakness in your offense, you get exposed to really good defenses or just average NFL defenses. So I think what I'm looking for in this bye week is Pete Carroll to get these guys on one page, get them aligned with what we're looking to do for this season, hold Chip Kelly accountable for this play calling and his inability to get the run game going, to then pass and all this other stuff. And then also getting Brock Bowers back. Hopefully we get Jacoby Myers back to at least we start putting the small wins and start building upon that. Kind of like when we had Dick Vermeil on, he was just saying, find the small wins. And that's what I'm looking for at this point. I'm not under any spell of like, oh, we're going to push for a wild card spot. We have a chance for the division. No, I just want to see that Pete Carroll is actually now starting to get these guys to buy in to Pete Carroll. Because what we saw when the Raiders laid down for the Chiefs is we saw a team that didn't want to play for anybody, not even the name on their back. They didn't want to play for that. They just wanted to just get through that game, collect a check, and go home. I'm hoping that Pete at least gets who he wants to buy in, and we start putting in some foundational pieces to start moving this forward and stop this whole mess of like seeing the Raiders quit on the field. I can deal with the loss. I can't deal with quitting on the field. So, Matt, what are you thinking that the Raiders bye week, what do you think when they come back? Are you thinking the Raiders need to improve on when they return and go against Jacksonville in week 9?
Well, one, their chemistry. I mean, if you look at this team, like I said it last week, like they're just bodies collecting a paycheck. They have no chemistry with each other, and not just, the players on the field, but the coaching staff. There's no chemistry there. And that was surprising because preseason we were like, cool, Geno and Pete, that's a reunion. Geno did very well under Pete Carroll when he was in Seattle. And, we were thinking like, oh, the Geno you have now is the Geno we thought they were going to have in Seattle when we got Russ. And then turns out the joke was on me and Corey. Mm-hmm. But, it was, you gotta find some soul searching here. What is, and it's very hard to kind of dive into the issue when you have so many. But I still think your main problem is Chip Kelly. And I think like his offense just isn't working. So for me, I think you just need to get back on the field. Yes, it's a bye week, but this isn't a rest period. This is all right. Let's get on the field. Let's run some plays. Let's get on the same page as each other. And let's see if we can spark some momentum. That's what they should be doing. Trying to find out Gino's tendencies and, Jacoby Myers' tendencies when he comes back and he's healthy again. Bowers, just everyone just talking to her. Get Jeansy going. Trying to find out everyone's tendencies so you guys are all on the same page. Because if we're not on the same page, no matter who's your offensive coordinator, no matter who's your head coach, it's not going to work when nobody's on the same page. So I think for your offense, it's just that. Just trying to get on the same page with each other. Your defense, I want to say they're lifeless because of your offense. As soon as they're off the field, they're right back on it. And it's just, and that's, again, just bodies collecting a paycheck. Like, all right, boys, here we go again. Let's get out there. And it's just kind of like put on a show. It's a dog and pony show. Mm-hmm. So if you want life into your defense, your offense has to find that chemistry, find that rhythm, and just this is your time to establish that.
Shovix, anything to add?
Yeah, I'll say it again. I've been pretty upfront with how the Raiders have been the last couple of weeks, and they start selling everything. I know they keep saying they're not going to, but if the Raiders want to truly do something going forward, they need to start moving pieces, and I think it starts now.
All right.
Yeah, and for me, to keep it simple, just everything. They just need to improve everything. Just get out there, play football, and just try to make baby steps at this point. Because there's not just one thing wrong. Everything's wrong. So just try to make small improvements as the weeks go.
Couldn't agree with you more, Austin. All right, you guys, let's move on to our league recon. So each of us have picked out our non-AFC West games and storylines that we want to talk about. So Austin, I'll let you kick off the league recon. Who is your non-AFC West storyline?
Yeah, I'm actually curious to watch the Giants and Eagles. Simple fact is I want to see how the Eagles respond from that ass beating they took from the Giants a couple weeks ago. AJ Brown's out. The Eagles there seems to be something disconnected within the Eagles, either organization, locker room, something. And this is where I want to see how they respond. Defending Super Bowl champions, I expect them to come out and knock around the Giants. But as we've seen since Dart and Scottaboo have kind of taken over, the Giants are they're no easy task. So I'm most curious to just see that game, see how it plays out, and see how the Eagles respond. Because truth be told, they were just manhandled against the Giants 2 weeks ago. So I just want to see how they bounce back.
Yeah, Corey?
For me, it's going to be the Bills. That coming off a bye week, I know they were able to kind of sit back and kind of see how the AFC kind of played out this last week. So they kind of had their week to kind of do some soul searching after, not looking so hot the last couple of games. So it's on paper, and everyone would say, hey, they're playing the Panthers. It should be, an easy win. Not so fast. I mean, the Panthers are, they're 4-3 themselves. So they have a little bit to prove themselves as well. So I want to see how the Bills come out off a bye week and see how they're able to handle a team like the Panthers.
Matt?
For me, it's going to be the Ravens. I want to see if they're going to be able to get some kind of momentum. Lamar Jackson is out again. He had a full practice on Friday, and, it looked like he was going to start. He's not. It's now going to be Huntley. He's going to be the starting QB, but the Bears are coming to town. You have home field. You're on a 2-game losing streak. You're on a 3-game losing streak. Where's your life? I want to see if they're going to find that momentum, get that spark, and just be able to handle the Bears while they're at home. So for me, it's going to be the Ravens.
It's actually, Matt, you and I picked the same game because I have the Ravens and the Bears, but I want to see it from the Bears perspective because I think I've been very clear on this show that I'm a little bit more of a Caleb Williams skeptic. I'm not sure if he's the truth or if he's just an okay quarterback, but Ben Johnson has gotten this team to play much better. Their defense has gotten better. And I was looking forward to seeing, similar to you, Matt, before we found out that Lamar won't be going in week 8. how the Ravens are going to look offensively. Will that give life to their defense? Or are they going to put up a fight to even compete for the North? Will they be one of those AFC teams that sneak into the wild card? But I feel like this has just been an odd year for the Ravens, where this is just their year where they're not going to be relevant or productive this year. It's almost like a punt year for them. And it kind of makes me wonder, at what point do we start looking at selling off assets? And I'm going to open this up to the group, and I'll start it off with the Shovix. Do you think the Ravens kind of look to see if maybe a Lamar Jackson and Ravens kind of split and go their own ways to restart is in the future? Because it seems like they've hit their ceiling and they haven't gone any further than maybe a divisional game, maybe a hope of getting to a wild card. So, Corey, I'll let you answer that. What is your thoughts?
Yeah, Lamar's not getting traded. That'll be shut down before it even gets brought up. As far as what the Ravens are doing, they do have pieces that I do think they could move. Some of the older players like a Mark Andrews, because I know Isaiah Likely is a really good tight end, and I know that they've kind of tried to implement him more before he got the injury, obviously. But it's like a Mark Andrews would be worth looking at. Marlon Humphrey, some of the older veteran players, because they still have a good group of young players. Let's not get that twisted, because they their secondary with Hamilton, Starks. So they have the pieces there. Maybe start building your offense a little bit better around Lamar. But yeah, no, there's no way that they would trade Lamar.
Austin?
Yeah, I agree. They won't trade it. I think as a team you would sign yourself up for mini championship or divisional games and everything. I think this year you chalk it up to just, a bunch of injuries. Things didn't fall your way, but if you still any team will sign up for a bare minimum divisional round / fighting for a division title damn near every year. So I don't think there's right now any chance Lamar would be on the trade block.
Matt?
Yeah, same. I don't see Lamar getting traded at all. I feel like he's going to be with the Ravens for quite a while. I mean, it's just a slump. We've seen it before. I mean, even Drew Brees with the Saints, under Sean Payton, they had their days where they were just getting beat up a lot. And then eventually they hit a hot streak and they would come back. So I think that's just what you're seeing here. One thing to note is the Ravens offense, or the Ravens roster in general, the average age is 27, and that's just a little bit higher than the league average. So like Corey had mentioned, you do have other players that are older that you could probably just trade off. Mark Andrews being one of them. Just kind of like start young, get a young offense out there, get a young defense, and just kind of, I don't want to say start from scratch completely, but you can kind of remold yourself if you start getting these younger players in.
I guess to then that, I'm not even saying this season. I'm not even saying next season. I'm just saying, like, do we start asking ourselves, when do we, one, recoup our assets, and also, two, if we're going to rebuild, if we're going to add pieces or draft picks or whatever, we've got to let go some of the salary cap. And having a quarterback signed to a pretty high deal kind of restricts in some respects. And also, the Ravens just don't seem to give Lamar a number one guy. They always seem to give him a guy that's just past his prime, with OBJ at one point. Now you got DeAndre Hopkins. That Zay Flowers is starting to turn into a pretty good receiver, but Lamar can't stay healthy, or Zay just gets injured, and so they just kind of miss each other. So I'm not even saying that it's going to happen this trade deadline. I think I'm just more posing, like, at what point do the Ravens and Lamar look at the situation and say, have we gotten as good as we can, and do we each go our separate ways to achieve more? I think is the question I'm more thinking of. And not to say that I don't think the Ravens should hold on to Lamar or Lamar should want to leave. I think it's just like, in the NFL, teams just don't keep players that often anymore in terms of loyalty, and we'll work it out for 15 seasons, and we've gone a whole career without a championship. So I guess I'm just wondering, at what point do they just go their own separate ways because it's just not working anymore?
No, they would get rid of Harbaugh first before they ever considered Lamar Jackson.
You think so?
Harbaugh would be the one to go first. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Because I would imagine Harbaugh would outlast Lamar, because he's been there for a long time. He brought them a Super Bowl.
Yes, but what has he done since then? Just, playoff appearances, right? So then I think usually what you see happen is they're going to move on, because Baltimore loves Lamar. They will ride with Lamar. They will die with Lamar. they will get rid of Harbaugh first, and then they'll bring in another coach. And if that coach, let's say he's having some success and he's developed this offense and Lamar is underperforming, then I think they start to look at like, all right, cool. It's a Lamar problem. It's not a coach problem. So
I think then I want to push back and just say, okay, listen, like Lamar's a great player. We can agree to that. But if you're looking at longevity, do you trust that Harbaugh could reset this team to be successful? Or do we trust that Lamar, let's assume he has 6 seasons left in him. He'll be 30. He's 28 now, so he'll be 34 at the time. Do we think by Lamar at 34 will played winning football and brought a championship or led a team? Or do we think Harbaugh is more likely to build a team again and coach them up to be relevant? Like, I guess then that's what it is. If we're choosing one or the other, which do we see makes us successful quicker and longevity wise?
No, they would fire their coach before they fire their multiple MVP quarterback. It's not even from like an overthinking standpoint. I think Matt said it. Baltimore will ride or die with Lamar. If they're going to do changes, they'll change with the coaching staff first. Mm-hmm. It may not even be Harbaugh, but I would absolutely 100% say they would get rid of Harbaugh if that meant keeping a Lamar Jackson an extra 3 to 6 years. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It would be coach and then quarterback.
Okay. All right, guys, are we ready to move on to our next segment?
Let's do it.
All right.
Actually, hang up before. Who are you going to replace Lamar Jackson with? That's going to be like there's literally no quarterback in the NFL.
Uncle Rico.
Well, listen, I mean, and again, as what the NFL always does is if you have a player that has a market, you trade it for what's best. And then what most teams have been doing as they just draft another quarterback. Now, Lamar was a great end of the first round pick that has turned into the superstar. And the Ravens have been really good about finding talent. So I'm not saying that like Lamar is the last good quarterback that they'll ever have in their franchise. But, do I agree that Lamar is great? Yes. But also I think what we've discovered, and again, I'll speak for me as a Raiders fan, I think coaching is also as important as having the right quarterback under centered. I think to just say, oh, they're going to fire this coach that has led this team before this guy was on the team to multiple playoff appearances, whether that's one Super Bowl or not, it's still leading this team before this quarterback was on the team to multiple Super Bowls and chances compared to this quarterback who, yes, has done the same thing, but also some would say is the reason why maybe the Ravens couldn't get over the top because their performance was not as good as the regular season. So that's why I think I'm just posing that as at what point does the Ravens look at the situation and where do they adjust it? Do they go head coach adjustment? Do they sell off assets in the quarterback to recoup? Like what would be the more likely game plan, I think is what I'm just trying to pose.
And that still goes on coaching. Like it's the coaches who are calling the only 8 carries to Derrick Henry. That's scheming. So, and like Austin had mentioned, maybe it's not Harbaugh. Maybe it's Monken, the OC first. And then they say, Harbaugh, we do respect you enough. You get one more crack at this offensive coordinator thing. And then if not, then we'll have to just, completely readjust this coaching staff. So it's not crazy. I mean, your question's valid. I just think in my mind.
When a team gets an MVP level quarterback, though, he's going to be the last one to get moved. He's going to be the last chance. No matter how we feel about him, no matter how his performance in big games, we can even look at the Cowboys. We can say Dak's accomplished nothing, but he's on his 3rd or 4th coach because they absolutely love him. And he does play at a decently high level in the regular season. He's going to be the last one to leave at any point.
I would say, and to Dak's credit too, Dak has the most 400-yard passing games than anyone in the league right now. And, and I think when you start looking at coaching is, let's say, he's got all these playoff appearances. However, if your team is performing well, your quarterback is performing well, but you're just not you're not successful, then it's like, cool, it's a coaching issue. If you get to the playoffs and you're calling all the right plays, the plays are there, they're drawn up perfectly, you game plan well, and your quarterback is the issue, then it's like, look, Lamar, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for the 2 MVP seasons, 3 MVP seasons or whatnot. But in the playoffs, you just suck. I hope they don't say like, hey, you just suck in the playoffs. But, when you're good in the regular season and you choke in the playoffs, then it's like, I need someone who can be consistent in regular season and in playoffs. So I think for me, I'd still go head coaching on this one.
All right. Very good discussion, guys. I think now that transitions us into our sponsor JBW Solutions segment of Fantasy Frenzy. So we're going to now kick off our sleepers and our busts of week 8. So Matt, who is your sleeper and who is your bust for the world of fantasy?
My sleeper is going to be Michael Penix Jr. against the Dolphins.
Okay.
And the reason I'm saying because they are at home. Oh, he's out. Never mind then. Shit, I had to make him a new one. I didn't see that. I didn't see he was out.
Michael Penix, you said?
Yep, he's out though.
That's right. You know what? Then I'm going to say Kirk Cousins. You know why? Because it's still against the Dolphins. Because it's still against the Dolphins.
That's a good one. So he is your sleeper?
Yep, Kirk Cousins is going to be my sleeper. He's at home. It's against the Dolphins. He's my sleeper. And then my bust is going to be CJ Stroud. And the reason I'm saying that is look what the game against Seattle, your defense won the turnover battle, right? They got you 4 turnovers or 4 takeaways, and you couldn't capitalize on any one of them. So I don't have faith in CJ Stroud. He's going to be my bust.
All right. So I'm going to give my sleeper and my bust real quick, and I'll kick it over to Shovik. So my sleeper would be Evan Ingram of the Denver Broncos. I feel like that this is a matchup where he's probably going to get a lot more target share and again, I suspect that it'll open up the run game. Evan Ingram will be featured a little bit more because when he's involved in this offense, I feel like it helps make it easier to get Marvin Mims the ball, Torrey Franklin and all the other guys involved. It makes Bo Nix a little bit more comfortable when he has a go-to tight end. And I feel like, Sean Payton getting the run game involved would cater into that. And of course, Dallas has a very poor run defense. So you'd like to think that all things will work together. And then my bust, and again, I kind of said this on another fantasy football show, but it'd be Tua. Do not add, if you have Tua, he shouldn't even be on your roster at this point. I'd be surprised if he's on the Dolphins roster at, next season, but I would just say my bust would be Tua. If you are quarterback stricken, I would almost just not start Tua in general. And Corey, who's your sleeper and bust?
So I'm going to start with my bust. Patriot fans, cover your ears. It's Drake May. I think we had talked the other night about the Browns defense. I think the Browns defense wins this battle. I think it's just going to be an ugly game. I truly do. I think they're going to be able to ugly it up enough. I still think the Patriots win. I just don't think Drake May is fantasy worthy this week. And then for my sleeper, give me Jackson Dart. I think he's going to just rain all over the Eagles. I think he has confidence. We saw the confidence in Jackson Dart against the Broncos. It's just terrible coaching towards the end of it, putting him in bad situations. I think Jackson Dart's finally trying to, put the NFC East on notice on, hey, I'm here.
Austin?
Nice. All right, my sleeper is going to be Tyler Algier. I think he's very starter worthy this week. I think that game's going to get out of control rather quick, even with Kirk Cousins, because all Kirk's going to have to do is hand it to Bijan. Bijan will get him up a few scores, and then Tyler Algier is going to get a lot of run towards the end of that game. And maybe even just in general, like why use Bijan in a game like that, honestly? Because like you guys have already said, it's the Dolphins. So Tyler Algier this week, I feel comfortable doing it, starting him, especially with the bye-mageddon. So sleeper, Tyler Algier, backup running back for the Falcons. But my bust one, it's going to be kind of hard. I've been wanting to go with Jalen Hurts, but I think I'm switching it to now. My bust of the week is going to be Dak Prescott.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
For starters, I just hate Denver, so this is going to hurt. Denver's defense is good. They've been good for years. They're a proud defense. I don't think they're proud of last week at all, whatsoever. Yes, they came away with a win, but they're going to come out different this week. You typically see when a good defense has a game like they did last week, one of those that, let's be honest, it shocked all of us. That in plain and simple. So shocked last week. I think they're going to come out this week, and they're about to show Dallas the level of defense they really are.
Wow, that's a really interesting bust. And I think for the sake of Matt and Jeff being in Denver right now, I hope that you're right for today's game. So, All right, guys, let's go into week 8's upset and locks of the week. So, Shovix, kick us off with who you have on upset alert and who your lock of the week is.
So we're only going to pick one. I'm just going to pick the upset. I'm going with the Steelers. The Packers are 2.5-point favorites on the road. It's in Pittsburgh. It's prime time. Aaron Rodgers is ready to show that he can still ball out. And I give the Steelers the upset of the week.
Austin?
This is weird to me because it's going to be a pretty easy one, I think. Right now, the Texans are actually favored over the Niners.
Mm-hmm.
So just give me the Niners to upset that. Like, plain
Okay.
that's all I got. Like, how are the Texans favored?
That's
over the
crazy to
Niners?
think that
So,
the Niners are the
Weird to lose
non-favorite. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Maybe because maybe because they're on the road, but
Maybe. I mean, but the Niners are 5-2 to the Texans 2-4. So that's interesting. But yeah, that would count for an upset alert. So yeah, right on.
exactly. Smart.
All right, Matt. Which one are you picking?
I got to go with the Browns. Like Corey said, I mean, the Browns defense is just good. I think that they're number 1 in the league right now. I think they're just going to overwhelm Drake May. I think they're going to frustrate that Patriots offense. So I got to go with Cleveland. Take the Browns to the Super Bowl.
I think your family, your mom and your sister are going to be really upset with you about that.
It wouldn't be the first time they disown me. They'll forgive me like always.
Okay, perfect. So my upset alert would be the Panthers over the Bills.
Oh.
This is in Carolina. I feel like this season the Bills have really not respected their opponents as much as I think they should. So I'm really curious to see the Panthers' young defense get after the Bills, and I feel like the Bills should be on upset alert. So Bills and Panthers would be my pick for
Do
that.
you know that Andy Dalton's starting?
He is starting. I think that's why for the Bills, I'm more nervous about them because, Andy Dalton with this offense might actually give it a little bit more of a dynamic to where the Bills can't just pass rush without Andy making them pay for it. So that's why I think this makes it even more interesting for them being in Carolina and for the Bills.
Thought you were going to pick the Raiders over the bye week.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be the upset pick for next week. We'll see. All right, guys. So that was our upset or lock. So now we're going to go to the AFC West picks. And now, without further ado, we are going to bring in the owner of JBW Solutions, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Jeff Williams. Jeff, how are you, sir?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me today. I'm great.
We appreciate you hanging out with us on this Sunday morning. So we are going to kick off the first AFC West game, and we'd love to get your pick first. Of course, we're going to go with the Dallas Cowboys versus the Denver Broncos. Should I just put you down for the Cowboys right now?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think my pick's probably going to be obvious, but, this is going to be a battle of statistics. On one hand, you've got Denver. They're number 1 in sacks right now with 30. They got number 1 in quarterback pressures at 77, and they're number 2 in points allowed and yards allowed with 15 and 254 respectively. But on the other side of that ball, you've got Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. They're averaging 390 yards a game. So I'm going to pick Denver, but their win is going to be dependent on if they can upset Dak's rhythm. They can force a lot of third and longs. If they can do that, I've got Denver winning on Will Lutz's leg again, 27-24.
All right, right on. Matt, who's your pick for the Broncos and Cowboys?
I'm leaning the same way. Again, I'm still nervous for it, but I think if Denver's defense can frustrate Dak, who, again, looking at his numbers against Denver, he's 0-2 against them, 470 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a 70.9 QBR. I think he just does not perform well against Denver. I think the altitude's going to get to him. I still think it's going to be a shootout, though, so I got to go with Denver. And maybe 32-30.
Wow. All right. Corey, who you got?
Obviously, it's the Broncos. And I told you guys the other day that Mr. Bo Nix was going to go for 300 yards and that J.K. Dobbins was going to rush for 125, and that was going to be the recipe. So give me the Broncos. I don't know. It's kind of back and forth, but give me 35-28.
All right. Interesting. Austin, who you got?
Yeah, so I picked on our pick'ems I picked Dallas. So I'm going to play it safe here. I'm going to take Denver. I'm going to be right somewhere. If I go with my gut, I actually think Denver's defense manhandles this game. So give me Denver 24-17.
All right. I'm going to also side with Denver. I like the defense. I like their momentum. I'm going to probably go with 27-24. I think it'll come down to a late second field goal by Will Lutz, but I got Denver on this one. And then the old
based on we are going to have so many Weedem boys in our comments.
Oh yeah, it's going to be all over.
Oh my Lord.
All right, our last AFC West game, because of course on Thursday Night Football the Chargers already played and we're not Charger fans, so we can move on. But Monday Night Football, Commanders head to Arrowhead. So Austin, who do you have, Commanders or Chiefs?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief and simple. Chiefs, they're rolling right now. So Chiefs, 38-17.
Okay, Corey?
Yeah, I am also in the same boat. Give me the Chiefs 35-10.
Okay, Matt?
I'm going to go Chiefs 28-13.
All right, Jeff, who you got?
I got Chiefs 31-17.
All right, I'm going to go Chiefs. I'm going to go 38-10. I think they're going to put a shellacking on the Commanders. So, all right, guys, let's go to around the league real quick before we go. And again, Jeff, JBW Solutions, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. I'm going to let you be the first pick because this is the Browns going to New England. So who do you have? You have the Browns or do you have the Patriots?
You know, I don't want my wife and daughter to read too much into it, but I've got the Patriots winning by 2 touchdowns.
Ooh, okay. Right on. Matt?
Like I said earlier, you know, they were my upset. I think the Browns defense is just going to overwhelm Drake. I got the Browns winning 17-14.
All right. Corey?
Yeah, I know I said that Drake May was my bust of the week, but I still have them winning. I still think it's going to be very low scoring. Give me the Patriots 13-10.
Austin?
Yeah, I mean, the Browns defense is good, but the Patriots defense is also good. I trust Drake May more than I trust Dylan Gabriel to get some points on the board.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a shootout. So give me the Patriots 20-3.
Okay. I'm also going to go Patriots. I actually would be surprised if the Browns score, so I'm actually going to say they're going to get shut out. I'm going to go 24-0. I think listen, I think that Mike Vrabel's got this team running at an all-time high, and this is in Gillette Stadium. Hard to play, and I just don't trust Dylan Gabriel. In fact, if they put Shedeur Sanders, it's going to be a long day for both of them. So give me New England. All right, moving on to Buffalo and Carolina. Jeff, I'll let you kick this one off once again. Who do you like, the Bills or the Panthers?
So looking at both their past performances, this is kind of a toss-up. But I think the Bills are going to finally get it together. I think they're on top by 7 points.
Okay. Austin?
Yeah, I got the Bills. I don't want to say winning easily. I do think they pull away late. Give me the Bills 38-27.
Corey?
I know I've been a Panther believer this season. I did call them my sleeper of the NFC South. Unfortunately, I think this is the week that the Bills figure it out. I think Josh Allen has a huge game, and so give me Buffalo by 2 scores.
Matt?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to go against Buffalo in this scenario. It just is. So I got to go Buffalo. Let's do 28-10.
I love how you guys threw out scores. I didn't even think we were doing scores, but I dig it. So I know I picked the Panthers for the upset alert, but I'm still going to go with the Bills. I think it'll be a 31-17 scoring. But yeah, the Bills.
You're going to be right somewhere.
I think the Bills coming off of a bye week, it's going to be really tough for the Panthers. All things considered, I think the Bills off of bye week is a difference maker on this one. And then the last game, Aaron Rodgers is playing his former team, as we talked about at the top of the show. Corey, who do you think comes out on top, Green Bay or Pittsburgh?
Give me Aaron Rodgers. God, I'm here for it. A little rejuvenation season for him. Give me the Steelers by 10.
Wow, double digits. All right, Austin.
Yeah, no. Green Bay's going to come out. Their problem has been sleeping kind of on their opponents. They're not doing that with Rodgers. They're going to be amped. I know Pittsburgh's a tough place to play, but they're also motivated, right? Let's not act like Jordan Love didn't have to sit 7 years or however long it was. So they're motivated too. So actually, give me the Packers. I don't know the score, but give me Packers by 3 touchdowns.
3. Holy cow. Matt, who do you got?
I'm also going with the Packers again. Aaron Rodgers is just a cranky old man. Yeah, he came out and he's like, look, I just told him, like, I'm 41, you can't tackle me. Like, the dudes on the other side of the ball, they don't give a damn how old you are. They're gonna hit you. So I think he's gonna get angry. I got the Packers winning this one. Let's do 28-20.
All right. I'm gonna go with the Steelers on this one. This is at Pittsburgh. I like Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers to just pull out some late game magic. I think it's gonna be a 1-score affair. I can see a Boswell field goal to end it, to win it for the Steelers. So that's what I got. So Jeff, you've got our final pick of the morning. Who do you have, Green Bay or Pittsburgh?
First off, don't mess with cranky old men. But that being said, honestly, I think Rodgers has something to prove. He was less than stellar with the Jets. I think he's found a home with Pittsburgh and Mike's offense, and I think he's going to come out on top, 21-10.
Nice. All right. So before we go, Jeff, as you are the guest speaker, I actually want to give you the floor for a couple minutes. Talk to us about JBW Solutions, about the thought behind it, the work that you guys do. I really want to kind of elevate this platform to talk about JBW Solutions because you guys are great partners with us, but I don't think people really understand what you guys bring to the table. So would you mind telling the folks what you guys do and what you guys do for businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. So JBW Solutions was founded in 2022 with a great friend of mine, and we're still great friends to this day. He left the company in 2024, early 2024, to pursue what he likes doing, environmental in the oil field. So I took the reins by myself in early 2024, and we were founded on providing services to the oil field and to oil and gas companies. But as you all may know, it's very volatile.
Yeah.
So what we decided to do was to kind of diversify and really get into the safety arena. We used to do some environmental work, but since we've really changed course into industrial safety services, we've really been gaining a lot of momentum. And what we do is we offer a full range of safety services to our clients, both in the oil field and in different industries, to include local and state governments. And we provide all sorts of safety solutions for them. And what most companies really don't realize is how important it is to have safety, a good safety program, especially nowadays. So we offer them consultation on how to enrich or grow their safety cultures. We perform compliance checks to ensure that they stay in compliance with OSHA and other regulatory agencies. And we just recently started offering Department of Transportation compliance services. So if you've got CDL drivers and you run the big rigs, there's a whole other set of standards and regulations they've got to follow. So we offer those services to them to ensure that they stay in compliance. And one of the cornerstones of our company is we're not constrained by geological boundaries. We're able to provide the majority of our services virtually, whether it's training, whether it's consultation. We can even do some first aid and CPR training online. We call those hybrid courses. And we just try and make it as easy for our clients wherever they are to be able to access our services and give them the best product that we can give them. And, it's like you say, Cody, in your startup with us, wherever you are, whether it's in the office, out in the field, we can provide those services to you as long as you've got an internet connection and a link. You have access to us 24/7, wherever it is you may be.
That's incredible. Thank you for sharing. What is the hope that you envision JBW Solutions looking like in the next few years, maybe in the near future? What's the vision that you're hoping to take JBW Solutions to?
So we do have a goal that we are aiming for the end of 2027, and that is to build our clientele to 118 clients and save them over $10 million in safety fines and things like that. So that's our short-term goal. Our long-term goal is to be a company that's nationally recognized, that provides quality safety services, and that helps these companies keep their employees safe. It's an OSHA requirement that these companies provide a safe and healthful work environment for their employees, and that's what we're here to do, is to help them build that work environment. So we hope to be a company that is recognized on the national level for the quality of service we give and the types of services that we can give to our clients and anybody else. I mean, it's not only large companies that we help small mom and pop companies. We help individuals, these guys who just have maybe one or two trucks or might only have an office or work out of their home office. They're just as liable to OSHA for being safe as anybody else. So it doesn't matter if you're a big company, a small company, an individual. We're here to help you, and we just want to be the best that we can in our field, in the safety field.
That's incredible. Jeff, where can they find how to get in touch with you or JBW Solutions to get started with being partners with you?
So just like you say, we're online at jbwsolutionsllc.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on Instagram. We've done a couple of collaborations with you guys, so your posts are coming over to our sites, and we're also on TikTok. And I have to kind of give a shout out to my daughter. She handles all of our socials, and she does a great job of that. And she's really the one who's gotten us out into the stratosphere, along with you guys. We can't thank you enough for what you do for us as well. We had a little private meeting early on when I first started sponsoring you, and I get to tell everybody that I sponsor a sports show, and I'm the only one out there that does it. And I won't use the language that I did then, but it's the truth. I get to, and now I get to say, hey, and I got a studio that they do the sports show out of. So it's been a thrill for us having you guys as partners. We're enjoying it a lot, and you guys are great at what you do, and we're honored to be associated with it.
Not to mention Carl Pickens, who's a friend of the War Room, chats up my dad on a weekly basis.
Oh, that's incredible.
And I still want to throw out, she does a great job, but my sister, she's still a loser. She's still a Pats fan, and I hope they lose.
Well, let me give a disclaimer there, because I don't want Carl thinking I'm telling lies on him. Every now and again, it'll be a like. It might not be words, but it looks like he'll like, and I'm good with that. Get Carl Pickens to like anything, and I'm happy.
I think we can vouch for that we would have never thought that we'd kind of be friends. I would say that we're pretty friendly with him, Carl Pickens, that is, and the fact that we are all now connected because of that. And Jeff and I also do want to say on behalf of the War Room, it's been an honor to be a partner with you in being able to help push JBW Solutions. It's been great and very encouraging that you are investing into us. That way we get to do this and hopefully push it as far as we can go. So thank you for your partnership, and thank you for all that you do for the War Room. I'm going to try to send us home now, so that way we can conclude and get on to Sunday morning football. So Jeff, thank you so much for being a guest picker on this morning's show. For those that are listening, please go subscribe to the West War Room Rivals YouTube show. We are live on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we do a Sunday morning show now, so stay tuned for that. Visit us at West War Room Rivals on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff. And just like what Jeff said, please go visit jbwsolutionsllc.com to get started on your safety compliance today. Everybody on the screen, thank you guys so much. Happy football. Jeff and Matt, please be safe in this morning's game, and I hope you guys have a great time.
I appreciate it, guys. Looking forward to doing great things together.
Thank you so much, guys. Be well, everybody.